Stuka Joe here. Today we have a very special show. We got a brand new game that is going to come out in Gamefound. It is Hispania, and we have Hispania's designer, Miguel Marqués, with us. We'll show you the game, and we will play a couple of turns so you get an idea. So let's bring Miguel in. And
Hello.
Miguel, hello, how you doing?
Fine.
Great to see you, Miguel. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah. So I'm presently in the other part of the world in Japan. I'm a nuclear physicist, and so for a living I do basic research in physics, and as a hobby I design games, and especially history games. And yeah, and today is a good example of the games I enjoy playing and designing, and yeah, so the game will be soon available in Gamefound, and I hope that today we will be able to show people your audience how it plays.
And we're talking about Hispania, and
Yeah,
but you've designed a game before that was published, right?
Tetrarchia.
Tetrarchia, and published by Draco Ideas.
Yes.
And Draco Ideas is going to publish also Hispania, and it's your prior game also has to do with Roman history. So this one also touches
Yeah.
upon Roman history. So I guess you like the period.
It's not just that, but yeah, I like ancient history, so Rome and Greece mostly. And Tetrarchia was a very unique case because it was about the tetrarchy of Diocletian. So there were 4 emperors sharing power. So I thought about designing a cooperative game, and this scenario was right for the game. So that's why I designed Tetrarchia, and then it worked very well. So I didn't expect it to work so well. And then Draco Ideas is a Spanish publisher, and they told me if I could think about a setting in Spanish history that could in which we could apply the similar mechanics.
Okay,
and that's why I finally found that the Roman conquest of Spain could work. And well, that was 1 year ago, and it worked.
Here we have the components for Hispania. We have them laid out on the table, and it's a very nice looking map. It uses wooden pieces, and I noticed from the start that it covers a lot of years because these are the years before Christ. So you start in 198 before Christ, and it ends in the year 18. So
These are the rounds, and each round is 18 years. So the last round represents the last 18 years of the millennium. And the players, so 198 is because the conquest of Hispania started after the Second Punic War. So after Hannibal's defeat, the Romans took over the possessions in the Mediterranean coast of Hispania that you see here, so provinces Citerior and Ulterior. And they tried to conquer the whole peninsula, but it took them almost 200 years. So it was Emperor Augustus who finally conquered the north of Spain.
So in the game, you start with the Romans in control of these 2 provinces, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you say this is a game for how many players?
So the Romans are represented by the 3 meeples that you see on the right. So the provinces you saw are color coded. So the Ulterior province, Ulterior means farther from Rome. And this is the red meeple. So the red meeple will be the praetor of the somehow the governor of this province.
Mhm.
The yellow meeple will be the praetor of the yellow province, the Citerior province, and the blue meeple will be the consul sent by Rome to Hispania, because at the beginning the two praetors were supposed to extend their control over the whole peninsula, but soon they realized that it was going to be very hard. And then during these 200 years, Rome had to send a lot of consuls to Hispania.
Okay.
So the players will handle these three Roman generals, and it is a cooperative game. If they are three players, they can handle one meeple each. If there is one player, it can be played solitaire with handling the three. And if there are two players, they will be the two praetors, yellow and red, and they will share the control of the consul.
Okay. And then so it's a cooperative game, and the AI, as we call it, would control the Spaniards, I suppose, right?
Yeah. So
And so what are we looking here that we have, and for the viewers, we have the components for the medium difficulty level on all five areas. It's all
yes,
difficulty levels. So you have these two. What do these represent?
these are Hispanic armies. So the type of pieces is just two types of pieces. So you have the wooden discs that for the Romans they represent their garrisons, and for the Spaniards they represent the revolts. And the meeples, in the Roman case, they are the Roman generals. In the Hispanic case, they are the Hispanic armies.
And there's also these
These are the Roman roads.
Roman roads. Okay.
So yeah, so what you have is a very nice prototype, but it is a prototype.
Yes.
Nonetheless. So the final game will look better than this, but it will be close to the pieces will look like this.
Yes.
The Roman roads you see on this part of the map, that there are some of them already drawn on the map along the Roman provinces, and there are a few more that the players will be able to place before starting the game.
Okay. So, and before we start setup, because the setup is part, obviously, of the play of the game, how do the Roman players win or lose the game?
So from their two coastal provinces, they have to conquer the whole peninsula, and the rest of the peninsula is divided into 6 areas. So in the rule book we call them provinces. They were not provinces because Hispania was a mess before the Romans arrived. Yes. But for the gameplay sake, we call them provinces, and they have a Roman numeral in the white banner. So
let's take one province as an example to explain to the viewers.
Yeah, okay, so Carpetania. Yes. So the name of the province reflects the main tribe, the main Hispanic tribe of the area. So Carpetania is province number 3, and each province has 6 cities. Okay. And the cities, they have also a numeral, Arabic numeral, from 1 to 6.
Like, for example, here we're seeing Tolentum is number
6. Is city number 6 of Carpetania. So you see that with the Roman numeral of the province and the Arabic numeral of the city, you can have the coordinates of any Hispanic city on the board.
And that's going to match the dice that come with the game.
Exactly. So when you roll the dice, you will get one city of the 36 Hispanic cities on the board. So here 3-6 is Toletum.
It would be Tolentum, and Tolentum has a different kind of symbol, has a star.
Yeah. So the cities are are ordered by importance, so more or less. So city number 1 is the less important in the province, and city number 6 is the capital. And the goal, so Toletum is the capital of Carpetania. You see it also because there are these walls drawn around, and the star symbol inside. And the goal of, so Numantia, not far away, is the capital of Celtiberia, so province number 2. And the goal of the Romans will be to place a garrison in the 6 Hispanic capitals. So once this is the only goal. If they put one garrison in each of the 6 capitals, they win.
And to put a garrison, I understand, in order to be able to garrison a capital, the Romans have to control the province.
Yeah, that's right. So the game will start with a random revolts on the board. And in order to put a garrison in a capital, Romans need to free the province of revolts. So at the beginning, you cannot garrison any capital because there will be revolts in all the provinces. And so step by step, you will have to remove the revolts, secure the capital, and keep going.
We have to capture all 6 capitals before the or garrison each before the time runs out, and the time is this track over here, right?
So there are 2 defeat conditions.
2 ways of losing.
Yeah. So the first one is you show that there is a reserve of black discs. These are the revolts. There are 22 of them. If they run out, the Romans lose. They run out, it means if you have to place one on the board and there are no more left in the reserve, you lose, because this means that there were too many revolts on the board. This is one way of losing. The other way is reaching the 11th round. So if you complete the round that you see on the track with an 18, and you have not succeeded in garrisoning the capitals, you also lose. So since this time scale will be covered with revolts that we remove from the game, so this means that when time advances, it's easier to lose. So when we move on in time, there will be fewer revolts available, and this means that there will be a pressure on the Romans to win the game before it is too late.
So time is not on our side. We have the onus of capturing all these, controlling the provinces and capturing the capitals, because time is going to be obviously on the Spaniard side. So I think we have to finish setting up the game, and for that, one thing that I liked that I saw is that you roll the dice to determine where the revolts start in the game. Now, instead of using these dice, I have, for example, if we're going to roll 2 dice in order to move this quickly, we're going to use these 2, because if I start rolling these and focusing off the map, it'll take more time.
So the first step, the first step of the setup is we have to roll only the black die in each of the provinces. So we start in the northeast, and we roll the black die, and we will place a revolt in one of the cities.
Okay, so this is Ilergetia.
Ilergetia, yeah.
So let's roll a black die, and it's
6.
a 6.
So you place a revolt in Osca. Osca is the capital.
So we place 1, only 1 revolt in Osca.
Yes.
Okay.
So maybe we can explain why now. So in fact, we will see the Romans have coins that they have to spend in doing things. So the action points in this game are represented by the Roman coins. That will be as beautiful as those.
Yeah, I mean, for let me tell, gotta tell Luis, for a prototype, this is a hell of a prototype. It's really nice. So well done.
Yeah, and these are true replicas of the Roman denarii of the Republic, of the Roman Republic before the Empire. So players have
there's people that buy games just for the coins.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, please continue.
And so they will have, each player will have 6 points. So they have to spend them in doing things.
Okay.
And one of the things they can do, so if you go back to the board, there are only 4 things they can do. They can move. And this, as you see, this is a point-to-point map, so they will go from one city to the other.
And the movement, for example, here, that line is a single line, so it has a different costs than other lines, right?
The rule is that each piece of link costs one coin. So that this link that you are pointing at will cost only 1 coin because it has only one piece. But if you want to go from Salduba to Osca, then there are 2 pieces. It costs 2 coins. And if you go in the Pyrenees, if you go from Osca to Beseda, for example, it is broken twice. There are 3 pieces, so it will cost you 3 coins.
Oh, okay,
so it represents difficult terrain. So, for example, from Salduba to the south across the Iberus River, it represents the crossing of the river. But then others represent mountains. And those that are along the Pyrenees, they represent very high mountains. So it's an abstraction of the difficulty of the terrain. So you can move. You can also place or remove a garrison, and this will cost 1 point, 1 coin.
And the garrisons
so when you are somewhere, you can place or remove a garrison.
Okay.
And the last 2, so there are only 4 things you can do: move, place or remove garrisons, and then you can attack a revolt or you can attack an army.
Okay.
And when you attack revolts, you have to roll the Roman die and roll more than the shield value of the city. So a revolt in Osca needs to roll higher than 6.
Yes.
So you will need modifiers.
And there's situations also that I saw that we'll see that sometimes you double the number, the values if you have
there are 3 ways in which you can support your role, which is with the garrisons, with the coins, and with your fellow generals. So with these 3 parameters, you can increase your roll. But basically, you have to roll higher than the shield. So it will be easier to remove revolts in cities with shield 1, 2, or 3 than in cities with higher values. So I wanted to explain this to show why we put 1 revolt in Osca, because it's city number 6. Now we can move to the second province, so Celtiberia. And then we have to roll again the black die to place the revolt. And we get a 5. So 5 is also an important city. So we place 1 revolt in Segobriga.
Okay. And now we will go to province number 3, right?
Carpetania. Again, you roll the black die. 4. Okay, so 4 is Castulo. Castulo is already lower in importance. It's city number 4. So here we will place 2 black discs.
Okay.
So when there are 2 discs, when there are several discs, you have to remove them one by one.
Yes. Okay.
So it will be easier than 5 or 6, but you will have to do it twice. Now we go to Lusitania. Again, you roll the black die. 5. Okay, so 1 disc in Emerita. And now we have the 2 provinces on the north left. So Galaecia You roll again. It's a 1. Okay, so for the two lowest cities, you place 3 discs. So in Noega, you will place 3 black discs.
Okay.
And last one, Cantabria,
Right here.
a
And
5.
5.
So 1 in Pompaelo.
And 1 in Pompaelo. Okay.
So before we go on, so this prototype is, as I said, is not the final one. So the game, so these discs are 50 millimeters diameter,
Yes.
as in Tetrarchia, because Tetrarchia was half this size of the board. But when the campaign starts, there is a stretch goal to make it bigger. So the board will be as big as yours, but the discs will also be bigger. So
I
it will be
understand.
20
Okay.
millimeters diameter. So that's why this is not the final look. So the disc will be bigger, will be easier to manipulate, and will be more stable. So this is one possible start. We have randomized the revolts. And now, as you said, there are many difficulty levels, and we have chosen the central value for the different parameters. So the first value is how many coins are we going to use, and as you said, we are going to use 6. Then how many garrisons each emperor will have, and we will start with 4. Next is we also have to place initial Hispanic armies. So Hispanic armies, there are 3 in the game, but when we are at medium level, we will place on the board only 2 at the
Only
start.
2.
So these 2 have to be placed. So now you roll the white die, and this will tell us in which province they will start.
Okay, so let's roll the white die.
So 2 is Celtiberia. So you place 1 army on top of the revolt in Celtiberia.
Okay, so Celtiberia is
number 2, so it's
top of the
Segobriga.
revolt.
Yeah. And then for the other army, you roll the die, the white die.
And it's
5. So this is Galaecia. You place the army in Noega.
So big stack there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and with this, we have all the threads. The Hispanic part of the setup is done. Now, another parameter is the number of fleets. In the medium level, we have 3 fleets.
3 fleets. I have green ones.
Okay, so you can use the green. In the final game, they will be white.
Okay.
But yeah, as I said, this is still a prototype.
Okay.
So you can place 3 green discs in the first 3 sea spaces.
Okay, so we had 1 would go in 1.
In Mare Balearicum, so Balearicum Sea, Ibericum Sea, and the next one is Gaditanum, I think, yeah.
And just to show the viewers this, the sea spaces circle Hispania. You got number 4, and you got even a number 5 there. Okay.
So these are spaces like the other ones in the game, like the cities, but Romans can only go through them when there are fleets.
Okay.
And they can move with the fleets, so they can move themselves or the fleet. Okay, so, and finally the Roman roads. So in the medium level, we start with 4 of them. So now we can complete the initial network that is on the board.
Okay, and when you have 2 players, I understand you alternate each player select.
So they can agree, but if they don't agree, each one will place one of them. Okay. So for example, you see that the 2 Roman provinces are not linked by roads. So it's interesting to link them. So if you place one between Cartago Nova and Basti, this links the whole coast. And this is interesting for the Romans because they can move with only 1 coin. They can move through a continuous link, a continuous chain of Roman roads. And so the others, the only restriction, we cannot place them reaching a revolt or a capital.
Okay.
But apart from that, we can place them wherever we want, extending the existing network. So for example, you can place one in Cordoba, going from Cordoba to Regina. And now that we have reached Regina, we can place one between Regina and Abula. And this is quite interesting for the Romans, because if not, it will be too costly to reach the center of Carpetania.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, those costly spaces, that costly lines that have that cost you 2 or 3.
And then we have one left. And so another interesting thing would be if we want to go through the Iberus, maybe placing one between Dertosa and Salduba here. Yeah. So this is an example, but depending on the revolts of each game and depending on the things the players would like to do at the beginning, they will choose. And now, we have the fleets, we have the roads, and we have to place the Roman generals, and then we are ready to start. So the red one must be placed in one of the cities of his province. You can place him in Cordoba. Or...
Yeah, I'm going to place him in Cordoba, yes. Let's place him here in Cordoba. Where do you want to place the yellow?
Yellow, maybe, Dertosa could be.
Okay.
Or, Dertosa. And the blue, the consul, comes from Rome, so he has no base in Spain, so he will start in one fleet. So in this difficulty level, we have 3 fleets, so we can choose. So the players can decide if they want the consul to support their first action, or if not, he can be in the number 3. Yes, and so depending on what the others do, he can come back or try to go to Olisipo or go along the Atlantic coast. So he can start in Mare Gadditanum, for example. So for those who are starting to read the names, all the names are in Latin. So the game will be language independent because we chose the Latin names for the provinces and the cities. So the only thing that will change if for me each version of the game will be the rule book.
Toletum, that would be Toledo, right?
Yes,
present day Toledo. Yeah. So you got the names in Latin there. Okay, so we have the game set up.
So now the game is ready to go, and this is the medium level. Yes. So if you want to make it harder, you can remove one garrison, one fleet, one Roman road. Yeah. You can add one Hispanic army. You can remove one coin, and the other way around. So there are 5 ways to make it harder or easier.
And one thing I like is because the setup is going to be different, and the setup as to the revolts and the Spanish army. So that means that our setup is going to be different because you have to address, right, even the setup of the roads is going to be different. So you have replayability all the time. You're never going to have the same game
so
twice.
There are 5 parameters that we described that you can tune for the difficulty, and each parameter has 3 values. So the combinations are 3 to the power of 5, which is 243.
243, well, yes.
Yeah. So, and each of them, as you said, the setup will be different because it is randomly obtained. So it's really very, very different. And I think that with people from Draco, we are playing a lot of games, and we keep enjoying the game because it feels very different every time.
Okay, so let's go. I understand there's an order.
Yeah. So the sun clock. This is this white piece. It starts in number 1 in the red space. So number 1, red player will start first, then yellow player, then blue player, and then the 4th symbol in this wheel tells you that you have to remove one revolt from the game and place it in the time track. So every complete round, every time you complete a round, you place one black disc on the time track.
Starting in the 198.
Yeah, and
circle.
since there are only 11 spaces in the track, this means that every player will play at most 11 turns. So this is the maximum you can play.
Okay, so we start with the red player goes first, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he has various options. The first thing is that he has a total of 6 denarios.
Yeah, because the idea is that you place the coins in front of you, and then as long as you are using them, you push them aside, and in this way you know how many points you have left.
Okay.
And we will see. Okay, for example, I said very quickly, he's far from the Celtiberian army, so maybe he could try to remove the revolts that are close to him.
Mm-hmm.
So I will tell you how to move it, and in a way that we can explain how to attack revolts.
Okay.
So, for example, he can move to Regina, and this will cost 1 point.
Okay.
And you see that without the road, it would have cost 2 points. But since we place a road, now in Regina he can place a garrison.
Okay.
For another coin.
So he places a garrison in Regina here.
Yeah, and then you understand why.
We got the sound effect for that.
For free. Yeah. So now he can attack Emerita and Castulo. So I said that you have to roll. So Emerita, you have to roll higher than 5, Castulo higher than 4.
Yeah.
But there are modifiers. So one modifier is the red disc he is connected to.
Mm-hmm.
So here he has one disc
+1
with him, but so the +1 that you see close to Cordoba, this represents a generic disc that belongs to any city in the ulterior province. So it's that it represents the base of the red praetor. Okay. So in this case, he has it is like he had 2 garrisons. He has the one in Regina and the generic one that could be in Cordoba, for example.
So we're at +2 now.
This means that when he is going to attack, he will have +2, and this is why I place this garrison in Regina. So now he has +2, and the attack action has a variable cost. It can cost from 1 to 3 coins. Okay. And why 1 to 3? Because you add also the coins to your roll.
So the coins serve as modifiers. So if I add 1 coin, it's a +1. If I add 3, it's a +3.
So it's minimum 1. So you have to spend minimum 1, maximum 3. Of course, if you spend 3, you don't need to roll, but then you have less things you can do. So here, for example, since we have already a +2 from our red discs, we can spend 1 only.
Okay, let's spend 1 too.
And you leave it, you place it on the board. Don't remove it yet, because when people will play, they need to know how. Yeah. So here, for example, it's clear that the Roman is adding 3 to the roll. Yes. So you can add the white. The Roman die is the white die. So you can add. We can attack Emerita for 1 coin, and then you roll the die.
Okay, so we roll one white die. And,
okay, so 1 + 3 is 4, is not enough. So this coin has been spent. Then we can spend another one and attack again.
We can attack again, so let's do that. Spend another coin. And here we go. Anything but a 1. A 6.
6. Okay, so 6 + 3, 9. So you can remove the revolt in Emerita.
And the revolt is gone.
So we have attacked Emerita twice because we were cheap and we only wanted to spend 1 coin. Sometimes you will take the risk. Now there are 2 coins left, so we can attack twice Castulo if we want.
Okay.
So you can
or we could attack once with a +2 also. Right?
once. So we have a +2 from the garrisons.
Yeah.
If you spend the 2 coins, it will be automatic because we have already +4, and the die will be a minimum of 1. But if you spend only 1 and we pray not to roll a 1.
Okay, let's try not to roll a 1. Here we go. And this time it's a 3.
So you remove the upper one.
Okay.
From Castulo.
And we have one more.
1 coin left to end the turn.
Oh, okay. So you always attack one garrison at a time.
Yeah, so that's why in the setup, when you have low value cities, you play several of them to compensate.
Yeah, I see.
It's a way to balance the setup. If not, if you roll only low values, it will be too easy.
Okay, so we have our last coin. Let's roll and see if we remove. And that's a 5.
And you remove the final revolt in Castulo. So the Red Praetor in his first turn has removed revolts in Lusitania and Carpetania. Okay. This is the Roman part of his turn, but every turn it will be the Roman part, which we have just seen, and Hispanic part. So now we are going to see what the Hispanias do in the part of the turn.
And for that,
so there are two things that to be done in the Hispanic part. First, you roll the 2 dice.
Okay. So let's roll it.
And something bad will happen somewhere in the board. So 4, 5. 4, 5 is Emerita. So 4 is Lusitania, and 5 is Emerita. So if the city is empty, you place a revolt.
Okay.
So we have not been very efficient in removing the revolt. So if the city is empty, you place a revolt. If there is already a revolt, you place an army.
Okay.
So by removing the revolt on the red turn, we have avoided a new army to arrive here.
Yes.
And yeah, so this is the first part of the Hispanic phase. And now the second part of the Hispanic phase, all the armies in the board will move and spread the revolt. So we start with army number 2, the army in Celtiberia. They are going to move to a connected city, and if that has no revolt, and if there are several of them, then you roll the black die to see to which one. Here he could move to.
And they move to cities in the same province, right?
Yeah, but they are connected. So in this army here could go to city number 1, 3, or 6.
Yes.
So you roll the black die. And you roll a 4. So the closest one to the 4 is city number 3, Puciala. So the army will go to Puciala, and it will place a revolt there, because armies are always on a revolt. So you place a revolt in Puciala, and you place the army. Okay. So sometimes it will be clear where it is going to move, but sometimes like this, you have to guess probabilities. And the other army in Galaesia has 2 possibilities. So city number 2 or city number 4. So again, you roll the black die and you roll a 1. So it will go to Lancia, city number 2. You place a revolt, and you place
a revolt there, and we place the. Okay. So we moved our two Hispanic armies.
And with this, so this is a complete turn. So this is the end of red turn. Now we pass the turn marker to the yellow space.
Okay.
And now it's player handling the yellow that will have the 6 coins to expend. So maybe we could. The only thing we have not seen yet is how to attack an army.
Okay.
So this army, Celtiberian one, at the end of the yellow turn has only one possible destination, which is city number 2 by Kula. Because when there are several of them, the priority goes to the ones that have no revolt yet. So in this case, we know that this army will go to Baecula. So maybe by the end of the turn, we can lay a trap to this army so that the consul will be able to attack with a modifier, with a strong modifier. So
the consul is the
third player.
So you would have to move.
Yeah. So let's play with the yellow. So I will try to end the movement in Basti.
Okay.
Because
so the yellow
Basti
can,
is,
with one coin, can move through these spaces because they're road connected
up to Basti, yeah.
To Basti, right?
But he will do this at the end of the turn.
At the end of the turn, okay.
So let's, for example, he can, for one coin, he can go to Salduba. He can cross the Iberus because we placed a Roman road.
Okay, so we're going to spend one coin, and
he goes to Salduba, so he crosses the Iberus. Now he can attack Osca. So as the red one, you see that the yellow province has a +1 on the board.
There's a +1.
This +1 means the same thing. This means that the yellow praetor, when he is connected to one of the cities in his base, he has already a +1 in combat. So, for example, let's make it easier for us. So he can spend one coin, the second one, to place a garrison in Salduba.
Second coin there.
So another reason to place it here, this garrison, is that if in a next turn he goes to Calagurris, for example, so he goes away from his province, he will have a link. So he will be connected to Salduba and Dertosa, so he will still have a +2. So garrisons have to be placed in order to create chains of support for each of the players.
They have to be connected to the general in order to support the general's attack,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And you could have garrisons, for example, you could have garrisons that run in a line, but they have to all be connected.
Yes.
Okay.
So here, for example, now he can attack Osca. So he has a +2 from the garrisons, the one he is on, and the +1 of his province. So he has a +2. We could take the risk of attacking with only one coin or two coins. Your choice.
I think with one coin is going to be pretty risky.
Okay, so let's do it two.
Let's live dangerously. Here we go. 2 coins.
So now he has +4.
Yeah.
And he rolls the white die.
Okay, here we
go. Not enough.
6.
So 6. How many coins left?
We have 2 coins left.
2 coins left. Okay, so let's attack with only one because we need the last one to go back. So let's attack again Oscar with only 1 coin.
Okay, so here we go.
So now we have a +3. You roll the white, sorry.
Oh.
Not enough. Okay. So we will go back here later. And now with the last coin, as I said, and especially because I want to show you how you attack armies,
yes,
he can go back to Basti because there is a continuous chain of Roman roads. So by spending only 1 coin,
so he's going to move back here.
He will go to Basti.
Okay. So let's.
And this is the end of his turn, of his part of the turn. So now he spent all the coins. Now we have the Hispanic part of his turn. So you can zoom out if you want to see the whole board. And now again, you roll the 2 dice to see in which city something is going to happen. 1, 2. So 1 is Ilergetia in the northeast, and 2 is city number 2, Beseda.
Okay,
So there is nothing. You place one revolt.
place a revolt there. Okay.
And now the armies will move. So the Celtiberian army has only one possible destination, which is Baecula. So you move it to Baecula and you place a revolt.
So place a revolt there, and that's the space where he will be moving. Okay.
And the Galician army, I think he has no choice. He can only go to Asturica because it's the only alternative without revolt. So again, revolt in Asturica. So you see how revolts reach the board. They can, if you roll a city without revolt, you will place a revolt, and the armies on the board will spread it.
They're starting. Yeah, the goal of the armies is to spread revolts, and it's after the whole province is full of revolts is that they can move into another province, right?
Yeah, so they don't cooperate with each other. They are the Hispanic armies, but once they have filled the whole province, they move to the next.
Okay.
So now is the end of yellow turn. So now the last turn of the first round would be blue. So now you move to blue. And now, yeah, as I said, blue could do two things. He could try to disembark in Lusitania, fight the revolt in Emerita and try to protect Olisipo, but let's try to attack Baecula, the army in Baecula. So with one coin, he can go to the next fleet in Mare Ibericum. So he goes back to the Mediterranean.
Okay.
With a second coin, he can disembark in Cartago Nova because they are linked. So it's normal movement. And now he has to reach Puciala. So how many? 4 coins left?
We got 4 coins left.
Yeah, 4 coins left. So he should need to go to Puciala. But first he has to remove the... okay, let's do like this. He has to remove Puciala. So if he spends only 1 coin, he has only a +1 and he has to roll higher than 3. It's a bit risky.
Spending a coin, yeah.
Yeah, so let's spend 2.
Spend 2. Does he get support? Does he get support? He doesn't get support for the color of the province because it's not his color, right?
Yeah, so he would need to place his own garrisons, but yeah, so we won't do it. So he spends 2 coins to attack Puciala. So he has a +2 from the coins, and you roll the white die.
Okay, see, the white die hasn't been our friend today. Okay, so
4 + 2, 6.
6. So
remove.
That removes the revolt, and we still have to move in there, right?
Yeah, and it will cost us the last 2 coins. So we can move to Puciala, but we cannot attack the army.
Okay. So
but let's do it because it's a good opportunity.
Okay,
so you spend the last 2 coins going to Puciala.
To go to Puciala. Okay.
So as I said, Romans can attack armies as well as they attack cities, but the other way around. So the armies can attack the Romans. So this army at the end of the turn is going to move to Puciala and is going to attack the consul. So we will see an example of attack, but instead of being the Romans on the attack, it will be the Spaniards on the attack.
Okay.
So this is the end of blue part of the turn. Now we have the Hispanic part of the turn to be done. So you roll the 2 dice over the whole board
in order to see where revolts appear.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
So 5-4. 5-4 is Galicia province 5, and the city number 4 is Lucus. So yeah, it's not too bad because this city was going to get a revolt anyway.
Yes. Okay,
And
so
now
please.
the armies advance. So the first one is army number 2, and his only destination is Puciala. So since there is a Roman there, this army, instead of moving to Puciala, it will attack the consul. So now, when we have not seen how, the only thing we have not seen is how combat works. So combat works in the same way, as in a similar way that the Romans attack cities. So each army, the Roman army and the Hispanic army, will roll their own die, and they will add their own discs. So now you would roll both dice. The white one would be the value of the Romans, the black one the value of the Spaniards. Each one would add the discs connected to him. So the Spaniard has one disc connected to him. He had 3 discs connected to him, but by removing Puciala, he has only one connected to him. So the Spaniard has a +1.
Spaniard has a +1.
The consul, the blue Roman, has no garrisons.
Yes.
So, and since he is being attacked, he has no coins either. But when a fellow Roman is connected to the enemy, he multiplies ×2. So combat, I said for the Romans there are 3 modifiers. One is the garrisons, the second one is the coins, and the third one that you had not seen yet is that another Roman connected to the enemy multiplies the final value ×2. So this is not a very interesting fight maybe, but I wanted to show you how it works. So now you will roll the 2 dice.
Okay, here we go.
And we will see who wins. Okay. So the Roman has 2 × 2, which is 4.
Yes.
And the Spaniard has 5 + 1, that is 6.
6. So we
So
still
in this
lose.
case,
Yeah.
you will remove the consul from the board.
Okay. And he will return the next turn?
He will return in the next turn. So yeah, so at least he has stopped the army. So the army is not advancing to Puciala, but he lost. So you see that it would have been wiser to place, for example, instead of the consul, place the yellow praetor, because the yellow praetor had a +1.
Yes.
And if you have +1 and then you multiply ×2, it's quite difficult to lose. But in this example that we have chosen, yeah, it was not so interesting for the Romans. But in this way, you see what happens. The Romans, as you said, so there is no player elimination. So he leaves the board. He will come back in the next round. But when he leaves the board, you put the Roman general on top of 1 coin. Okay, so you take 1 coin from the pool, you place it aside, and you place the So this represents the costs for Rome to replace the consular army.
So that means that means that in the next turn there's only 5 available.
Yeah. So now so players have to be careful. If they fight against the odds, they can harm the other players, because now red and yellow will play with only 5 coins the next turn. And when blue will come back, he will come back with the 6th coin.
Got it. Okay, got it.
Okay.
So and
now
that lasts for 1 whole turn then.
Yeah.
That penalty of okay.
Yeah, the whole round. And if red now did the same thing in his turn and he loses a battle, again yellow will place with 2 coins less. So you have to be careful with combat. This is a cooperative game, and it is very important to cooperate so that you maximize your chance of victory. And to complete the turn, you saw that the Celtiberian army defeated the consul, and to complete the turn, we have the Galician army that has to move, and he has 2 possible destinations, and both have revolt, so there is no priority. You have to roll the black die to see if it will go to 2 or to 4.
The closest result,
and it will go
4.
2-4, Lucus. While we are fighting in the south, the Galician army is filling Galicia with revolts, so we have to take care of that. And with this, you end blue turn, you have moved the marker to the space with the revolt to remind you that you have to place now a revolt on the time scale. So these 3 turns represent the past of 18 years. So now we go from 198 before Christ to 180 before Christ, and we have 1 revolt less in the reserve.
So we completed
and with
one
this
whole turn, yeah.
And with this, you move to the second round, to the red turn in the second round. And this is how it plays. So you have a full, we played a full round. So more or less, each coin represents 1 year. So each player has 6 coins and you have 3 players. So this is why more or less you have 18 years that have passed.
Yes.
And now, yeah, so for the next turn, red player, we have to see they have less coins, so they have to, maybe the best thing red could do is go to Toletum and attack, or maybe to Castulo. Red player now could go to Castulo. He would benefit from a +2 already. So we are not going to, we are not going to play the second round, but it's clear that the first movement,
possible strategies.
The first movement of red, he should take advantage of the position of yellow. So yellow is connected to this army, so red could go north, but the best movement here would be to go to Castulo and use the modifiers, the plus modifiers that he has from his garrisons, and the ×2 of yellow, and this would be a automatic victory against Celtiberian.
Yes,
so these are the things that players have to consider. So try to remove the threats that are going to place the most revolts, and so on.
It's really an ever change. It completely, situation is very fluid because you have revolts occurring in different provinces, and the thing is you can't address all the revolts at the same time because you need the support of your armies to gain that extra that ×2, that multiplier is really important to get an edge.
And in my previous game, Tetrarchia, there were 4 players, 4 characters, so you could go by pairs. But here there are only 3 characters, so it's a quite difficult choice to see who is going with whom and how to coordinate the 3 armies together. And for example, you saw that when armies are going to fight each other, Romans and Spaniards, I told you that the Spaniards add all the revolts connected to them. So have a look to the Galician army. So now they are connected to 3 to 6 revolts.
Yes,
so if red wants to go north to fight the Galician army, he has no chance because the Galician has a +6 already.
Yeah, he would have to start trying removing revolts first before
removing revolts or cutting the army from the other revolts, because there must be a continuous chain. So there is a lot of strategy when you have to prepare combat, because you have to try to reduce the maximum the Hispanic value and then try to optimize your value with cooperating with other colleagues and etc. And this is the medium level that we have shown, but in the hardest level, you will only have 5 coins to start with. You will only have 3 garrisons. There will be 3 Hispanic armies from the start, so it's really tough.
The medium level is pretty tough in itself. And the one thing that in this game, it's a cooperative game. So either everybody wins or everybody loses, right?
Yes.
So it's not that type of game that, because there's cooperative games that then you say, then you determine who's the player that did the best. And no. Here,
No.
you're all in the same boat.
Here is Rome is victor, not the Romans. It's Rome.
It's a truly cooperative game where it's
Yeah.
a side wins or a side loses.
So in the what we have seen here is the base game. There will be variants in the campaign, in the Gamefound campaign.
Yes.
There are variants. There are historical scenarios, and one of the variants is a competitive variant. So in the competitive variant, there will be a Hispanic player, and the Hispanic player will have 2 coins. So this is a stretch goal, but we hope we will make it. So the Romans will have 6 coins. The Hispanic player will have 2 coins, and he can use the coins to guide. They can use the 2 coins to reinforce their combat value, and so on. So it's a cooperative game. It can be played with the same rules as Solitaire, but we have planned a competitive variant that we have already tried with people from Draco Ideas, and we enjoyed a lot. So it's a completely different feeling, but it's a very difficult challenge for the Romans.
No, I can see the charm of the game, because it's first, every game is going to be different, and then you have to deal with your colleagues.
Yes.
who may not be in the same philosophy that you are, because everybody's different, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody has different way of approaching problems and situations. So you have all these variables, and I think it's a very elegant design. So I want to congratulate you and Draco Ideas. This is, the prototype looks very good, and I can imagine that the final game is just going to be even more beautiful, because Draco really does a good job at supporting its games and making beautiful and smart games. And for me personally, I like it because it fits in my table. It's not a game about Rome that that I can't fit in my table. So and it has a lot of pluses. It's very portable. This is a game that you can take and play with friends.
Yeah, the box will be more or less the same size as the Trachea. So it's a small box, and it will be full of the components.
Okay. Well, Miguel, I want to thank you for spending the time to show us Hispania.
Thank you for this opportunity.
My pleasure. To the viewers, this will be available through a Gamefound campaign. Is that correct?
Okay. So it starts in April 16.
April 16. So we will be including links to this video. And thank you again, and best of success. This is you look at the game, you see the wooden pieces. There's a lot of thinking that you got to do. I mean, you can't play this casually, because everything is important. The positioning of the pieces is important. The timing of the attacks. So it's a very interesting design, and I wish you the best.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And this is Stuka Joe signing off for now. Thanks for watching.